Hello, and good afternoon, my friend. Today I'm going to show you all the bosses of the first chapter of Black Myth, Wukong. We'll also talk about the tactics of fighting each one individually, and I'll give you some useful tips on how to defeat each of them. So here we go. First boss, Bullguard. It's a monster with huge horns and a large axe. Its slow blows make it easy to avoid. You want to reduce the health of your opponent to about half. After that, you'll receive Immobilize, which makes further combat easier. Charge staff blows can be used from a distance to stun your enemy. You can use a bottle of water to restore your health. Use the Immobilize spell to cause maximum damage on the Bullguard. Second boss, Wandering Wight. It's an optional boss that you can come back to later, but for now it can give you an interesting skill that will make the other bosses easier to beat. Although Wandering Wight is the first boss you encounter, I recommend killing the third boss, Guangzhi, first, as it is much easier, and afterwards you can turn into Guangzhi for a while. This will make the fight much easier. If you don't want to fight Wandering Wight at all, just run past him into the passage behind him. But if you want to defeat this boss, you'll have to work harder. This massive creature has powerful blows. Its attacks are too slow. Use the spell Immobilize after a powerful attack. You can stun an opponent with a series quick blows. You can do this up to 3 consecutive times if you are aware of your stamina. After you have completed the first combo, switch over to the Red Tide and hit hard to maximize the damage. The boss uses a lot of melee attacks, but also uses airflow to strike from a distance. You should pay attention to the boss's shockwave. If you see his hands touching the ground, get as far away from him as possible. This attack has an enormous range. While the Immobilize spell recharges, hide behind nearby rocks or trees. You will have plenty of time to rest as the boss moves slowly. Third boss, Guangzhi. A huge wolf is holding a spear that's blazing hot. He dodges with a series of long blows, then counterattacks in a small window. Stay away from the enemy until you have used Immobilize. Then, use the Immobilize spell to freeze your enemy and do as much damage as you can. Use several dodges to put out the fire if Guangzhi has set you on fire. Fourth boss, Lingxuzi. You will need to prepare yourself in advance for the fight. Upgrade the armor on the altar to increase the defense stats and defeat Guangzhi to obtain the Red Tide spell. Lingxuzi main attack is a powerful claw strike, which you should avoid by moving sideways. He may bite you at times, but the attack is limited and easy to avoid. Avoid the claw strikes. You will be able to counterattack after Lingxuzi. Use your immobilize spell and Red Tide as soon as possible to maximize. Baw-Li-Guhh-Lang. Fighting a giant toad doesn't take any special strategy. She is slow and has weak attacks, so you will be able to defeat her with a few quick punches. This is one of the easier bosses to defeat. Sixth boss, Guangmou. Guangmou mainly uses a combination of long-range projectile attacks and poison, and can also summon small snakes that, despite their size, can do significant damage if you run out of dodge stamina. When the boss says something like, "Boys, welcome our guest," focus on destroying the summoned snakes as quickly as possible. One quick hit on each one will suffice for this purpose. The basic strategy for dealing with Guangmou remains the same. Start with a powerful attack, then use the Immobilize spell and perform a series of quick attacks. When the Immobilize spell rolls, repeat the procedure. If you have a Red Tide spell, use it for maximum damage. Seventh boss, Whiteclad Noble. Whiteclad Noble, the first boss of the game, has two phases with different health bars. He uses mainly melee attacks in the first phase. In the second phase, however, he switches to ranged attack and has a serpent tail. You will be able to gain an advantage if you've already defeated previous bosses. This is because you'll have collected more spells in spirit. Be sure to help the Shen Monkey before the battle, and improve your bottle while you descend the wooden platform. Use the Immobilize spell to start the battle, and then use Red Tide immediately afterward. This will allow you to make powerful attacks that deal maximum damage. Then, execute a series quick attacks while avoiding the boss's counterattacks. It's best to avoid using powerful attacks in the first phase, as the Whiteclad Noble is very fast. The second phase begins when the first health streak has been exhausted. The boss will then grow a serpent tail, switch to ranged attacks, and launch air currents using his trident. The Immobilize spell is ready for use by this time. Freeze the boss, and then continue to deal quick blows. Use the bottle to restore health. You can use Brute Force if you have saved the healing charge for Phase 1. 8th boss, Elder Jinchi. Elder Jinchi, a more powerful version of Wandering Wight that you have met before. He uses the exact same techniques, but has a larger series of them and more health. The boss will also summon his apprentices who can heal or deal damage to him. Run away when they start to glow and move towards you. If they reach you, they will explode and cause significant damage. You will see Elder Jinchi rise up into the air after you have taken half his health away. His disciples will then slowly walk towards him. You must kill them all before they get to the boss, otherwise he will be healed. Combat strategy is the same as that used to fight the Wandering Wight. Start with Immobilize, then make a series quick attacks, and finally apply Red Tide. Dodge the boss's attacks and reuse spells while they recharge. You'll be able to use quick strikes to stun your enemy after completing the series of attacks. Don't forget about using strong rush attacks whenever you get the chance. Use Red Tide again when it recharges to finish the battle. Ninth boss, Black Wind King. Black Wind King, armed with his long spear and fire and wind magic, is a formidable opponent. To defeat him, you must use dodges and have good time management. Be prepared to dodge his 3 consecutive attacks when he begins swinging the spear. You will be able to counter-attack after his 3rd attack. Use the Red Tide to start the battle. Be prepared to dodge multiple times when Black Wind King transforms into a whirlwind. He will attack you in different directions. The boss will eventually move into the middle of the arena to create a powerful vortex. Stay away from the center at this time. Use the Immobilize spell to attack when he returns in human form. After you have taken half his health off, he'll start to use his spear more frequently. You will know that the boss is about to use a fire attack if you see him drinking from his flask. At this point, he is very vulnerable, so you can use quick attacks to disrupt his plans. When Black Wind King is invisible, he could suddenly attack. During this time, try to avoid standing still and dodge. Black Bear Guai. Black Bear Guai will be one of your most powerful enemies. This is a large bear with red eyes and flaming paws. It strikes hard. To be victorious, you must prepare yourself in advance. You can use the Fire Cloak to temporarily protect yourself from fire if you defeat Elder Jinchi. To strengthen your defense, equip the Agate Vessel, gimmick you obtained after defeating Black Wind King. You can summon the Guangmou spirit after you have defeated the boss with the same name. This spirit summons poisonous snakes. Create a staff and several pieces from the bronze armor set in order to increase damage against stunned enemies and gain resistance to fire. Materials can be obtained by defeating Elder Jinchi or purchased. As soon as the battle starts, summon Guangmou and poison your enemy. Use the Immobilize spell to perform quick attacks before switching over to the Red Tide spell and using powerful strikes. The boss will use paw attacks that you can avoid by moving sideways. After he throws his 3 strikes, you have the chance to counterattack. A series of quick strikes can stun the enemy, giving you the chance to repeat your attack. The boss will become a fireball when its health is reduced to half. It will then attack repeatedly. The arena and his paws will start to burn after he returns to his bear form. It is recommended that you use the fire cloak at this time. Use a series dodges to put out the flames if you begin to burn. The second phase is the most dangerous. The paws of a boss can cause pillars that are up to 60% more damaging. Keep your distance and be aware of your health. There is one more secret boss in the first chapter, but you can only find it after you return to the first chapter. It's not available at the moment. So, I haven't added it to my review yet because I haven't gotten to it yet. We will try it later. That's all for today. If my recommendations helped you, please like and subscribe to the video.